So the next chapter is rotational mechanics, and in rotational mechanics we will be discussing these tabs, that is torque, moment of inertia, angular momentum, kinetic energy. Then we will see how to solve problems in rotational mechanics, and then we will see rolling motion. So let's come to torque. We will be discussing the two expressions of torque, and let's see what is expression number one, and we will see examples for it and conditions to apply that, right? So the first expression for torque is torque tau is equal to R cross F. All of you are aware of it. Now what is this R? The most important thing, what is this R? So this R is the position vector of the point of application of force. Application of force with respect to the point about which torque is calculated, right? And this, of course, F is the applied force, the torque of which has to be calculated, or you can simply write it as the force of which the torque is to be calculated, right? This is torque. So what is the condition to use it? The condition to use it is very simple. We can use this expression to find out torque of any given force about any point. Let's see one example. So I have this particle which is projected with velocity u at an angle theta in the gravitational field of Earth. The mass of this particle is m. This particle follows a trajectory and comes back on the ground. Now when this particle reaches the topmost point, we want to calculate torque of mg about the point of projection O. Now very simple approach. Draw the position vector of the point of application of force. It is the center of the object, right? This is the position vector R. Now this R vector is, in this case, it is half of range, that is R by 2 I cap. This distance is half of range. We have done this in kinematics. Plus H max J cap. The force F here is mg minus j cap. So torque tau is now r vector cross f vector. In this case, I cross minus j gives me minus k. So it's mg r by 2 minus k. You can substitute the value of range as u square sine 2 theta upon 2g. So we have torque tau as mg u square sine 2 theta by 4g. Minus k. You can use the formula for range, which is equal to u square sine 2 theta by g, to find the value of torque in terms of u and theta. So this is mg u square sine 2 theta by 2g minus k cap. So now let's come back to the next expression. Now this is an interesting case. This is torque tau is equal to I alpha. Now I have shown you the first expression. When do we use this expression? Here alpha is angular acceleration. I is moment of inertia, and of course tau is torque. Now this expression is used only when moment of or axis of rotation is defined. That is about, first condition is fixed axis of rotation. Second is axis passing through center of mass. And the last one is instantaneous axis of rotation. Axis of rotation. Now this instantaneous axis of rotation, in short we will write it as IAOR, and this is a case only when the object is undergoing combined translational and rotational motion. Now let's see what is moment of inertia. Let's see the definition of it, or in fact we will see the expression of it, right? The expression for moment of inertia is given as I is equal to mr square. Now what is this I, what is this m, and what is this r? So if this is the axis of rotation of a particle having mass m at a distance r, and this particle rotates in this circular path, then the moment of inertia of this particle is equal to mr square. What is moment of inertia? If we define it, it is the property of a body which resists the change in its angular momentum. I repeat, it's a property of body which resists the change in its angular momentum and is given as I is equal to mr square. Now suppose we have two particles here. One is of mass m, the other one is of mass m1. And this is rotating in a circle of radius r1. So I1 in this case is m1 r1 square, right? Now, if I say the orientation of rotation of these two is along the same direction, right? Then the I net of these two particles will be the sum of these two moment of inertias. If they are in opposite direction, then the I net will be I minus I1. You can take any one of them as positive, any one of them as negative, depending upon your requirement. Right. So this is the moment of inertia. Now let's see what are the theorems on moment of inertia. One is perpendicular axis theorem, the other one is parallel axis theorem. So let's see the derivation part of it. Parallel axis theorem. Now, suppose this is a particle and this is the center of mass of the particle. This is the axis which is passing through the center of mass of the particle, and moment of inertia about this axis is ICM. Now we want to find moment of inertia of this particle or this object about another axis which is parallel to this given axis, which is passing through the center of mass. So you can see these two lines, one is red, the other one is black. They are parallel to each other. And now we will find out moment of inertia about this axis. Say it's I. The distance between these two parallel axes is d. So I is given as ICM plus md square. Right? So the moment of inertia is ICM plus md square. Let's see one example. I will use some earlier results which we already have. This is a rod of mass m and length L, and we want to find moment of inertia of this rod about this axis passing through one of its ends. We know moment of inertia of the rod about the axis now. We are aware about moment of inertia about the center of mass, so it's ml square by 12. You can do only when this is given. We want to find moment of inertia about this point. This distance is L by 2. So moment of inertia I is ml square by 12 plus ml square by 4, and this is equal to ml square by 3. So this is how we will use the parallel axis theorem to find moment of inertia of any given body about any given axis if we know the moment of inertia about the center of mass. Now, so we did parallel axis. Now let's do perpendicular axis. So perpendicular axis theorem. Now this is valid only for a planar body, right? Now suppose we have an object which lies on a plane, and we know this is the plane on which this object is lying. Right. This is x-axis, this is y-axis. All of us are aware that it is these two planes are perpendicular, these two axes are perpendicular to each other, and I know the moment of inertia about these two axes. Say Ixx and Iyy is known to me. If I want to find moment of inertia about the z-axis, which is passing through the intersection of these two lines, and is perpendicular to these two lines. So Izz is given as Ixx plus Iyy. So this is the perpendicular axis theorem. Now let's see the expressions for moment of inertias of rod, ring, disc, cylinder, hollow cylinder, sphere, hollow sphere, rectangular plate, and triangular plate. Now remember, these are the objects which are there in your syllabus till JEE Mains. In fact, triangular plate is also not there. So I'll give you the expressions only, then later on you can see the derivations for it. For JEE Mains perspective, no derivation is required. So moment of inertia of rod. Moment of inertia of rod. Moment of inertia of rod. So this is a rod. Its moment of inertia about this axis, which is perpendicular to its length and passing through its center of mass, is given as ml square by 12, where m is mass of rod, L is its length. Second is the ring. Now, the moment of inertia of this ring about an axis passing through its center and perpendicular to its plane. Mass of ring is m, its radius is r. Moment of inertia about this axis is given as mr square. Now, we saw moment of inertia of point mass also as about this axis of rotation also as mr square, right? We saw this. Now, the ring is also having the same moment of inertia. Now remember, moment of inertia of an object does not change if the distribution of mass about the axis of rotation does not change. About the axis of rotation, the distribution of mass does not change. Then the moment of inertia does not change. Now let's see the next one, the disk. So if this is a disk, we want to find moment of inertia about an axis of the disk. Mass of disk is m, radius is r, so I is mr square by 2. Fourth is hollow sphere. Fourth is hollow cylinder. So this is the hollow cylinder. Again, you can see here that the distribution of mass about the axis of rotation is not changing. Mass is m, radius is r. So I is mr square. You simply stretch the ring. You simply stretch the ring along its axis. You simply stretch the ring along its axis. Stretch the ring about its axis. You get a hollow cylinder. Since the distribution of mass is not changing, so the moment of inertia of hollow cylinder is not changing. Now let's see the case for solid cylinder. Again, you stretch the disc. You stretch the disc along its axis, you get a solid cylinder. Radius is r, mass is m. So moment of inertia about this axis is mr square by 2. This is solid cylinder. Sixth is hollow sphere. So for a hollow sphere about any of its diameter, for a hollow sphere about any of its diameter, the moment of inertia is I is equal to 2 by 3 mr square. This is ICM. Seventh is solid sphere. For a solid sphere, moment of inertia about any of its diameter is ICM is equal to 2 by 5 mr square. Now let's see moment of inertia of a rectangular plate. So we will try to derive this. So this is a rod of mass m and length say L. Moment of inertia of this rod about this axis, which is perpendicular to its length and passing through its center of mass, is given as I, let's say this is IYY and this is m L square by 12. Right. Now if I stretch this rod, along this axis, I get a rectangular plate. Right? This plate also has the length as, let's say this plate has the same length L, because the rod has this length. Again, moment of inertia of this plate about this axis remains unchanged. I said earlier also that whenever the distribution of mass about the axis of rotation does not change, its moment of inertia does not change. Similarly, let's assume now this plate has a width of or a breadth of B. Now moment of inertia of this plate about this axis passing through its center, this is Ixx and this is mb square by 12. Now if I want to find moment of inertia about this axis passing through the center, now this axis is the z axis perpendicular to both xx and yy. The moment of inertia about z axis will be, using perpendicular axis theorem, it will be the sum of yy and xx. So this is equal to mb square by 12 plus ml square by 12. So moment of inertia of a rectangular plate about an axis passing through its center and perpendicular to the plane of the plate is given as ml square by 12 plus mb square by 12. If it happens to be a square, then L and B will be same and it will be ml square by 6. Now let's see the expression for the last. Let's see the expression for the last object, that is moment of inertia of a triangular plate. Moment of Now suppose this is a triangular plate and we want to find moment of inertia of this triangular plate about this axis. See. Right. So we want to find moment of inertia about this axis. The base of the triangle is say B and the height of the triangle is H. Sigma is its surface mass density. So sigma will be mass m upon ph by 2. So it's 2m by ph. So I is equal to sigma into b into h cube by 12. You remember this expression? This will suffice for you as of now. The derivation is not there in JEE Mains. Right? So this is moment of inertia of a triangular plate. Now let's see what is radius of gyration, its definition, and let's check one example also. So radius of gyration of a body about an axis of rotation is defined as the radial distance of a point from the axis of rotation at which, if whole mass of the body is assumed to be concentrated, its moment of inertia about the given axis would be the same as with its actual distribution of mass. So let's take one example, or let's see the expression for it and then we will take one example. Suppose this is the axis of rotation. Suppose this is the axis of rotation of a rectangular plate. Right. Now it's a plate, right? This length is L and this breadth is B. About this, moment of inertia of the plate is known to us, and this is I. This axis lies on the plane of the plate. So this I is equal to ml square by 12. Right. Now, if I want to find the radial distance of a point from the axis of rotation, from the same axis of rotation, and moment of inertia of this plate is same as the moment of, oh hello, तुम यहाँ चली जाओ, उसको या तो कान में लगा लो भाई. फिर तुम टूटा बजाओगे फिर दिक्कत होगी। Now the radial distance of this point, which has the same moment of inertia as this of the plate, as that of the plate, with mass of this point is m. So moment of inertia of this point will be mk square. Now this when equated to ml square by 12, we get k as L upon 2 root 3. Now this k is radius of gyration. This k is radius of gyration. This k is radius of gyration. So this is about radius of gyration. Now let's see the angular momentum of an object undergoing rotational motion. In angular momentum, we will see the expression for angular momentum under Now let's see the angular momentum of a particle undergoing rotational motion about fixed axis of rotation. Then we will see combined translational and rotational motion, and then we will see some examples in angular momentum of an object undergoing rotational motion. Let's discuss fixed axis. Expression for angular momentum of a particle undergoing fixed axis of rotation. So it's angular momentum. The expression is given as L vector. Angular momentum is denoted as L vector. Is given as R cross P, where R vector is the position vector of the center of mass So angular momentum L vector is given as L is equal to R cross P, where R vector is the position vector of the center of mass of the particle from the point about which L is calculated. About which L vector is calculated. This is similar to what we have done for torque. And P vector is the linear momentum. Now this expression is valid for every case. You can find you can find angular momentum of any particle about any point of reference. We can take one example for it. Now on the xy plane, this is a particle of mass m projected with velocity u at some angle theta. This particle follows this trajectory and falls on the ground. When the particle is at the highest point, we have to find angular momentum of this particle about O. So this is r vector. Vector r can be written as r by 2, that is half of the range I cap, plus h max j cap. Weight, the linear momentum P vector is at the topmost point. We are aware only the horizontal velocity is there, which is u cos theta. So linear momentum is mu cos theta I cap. Now the angular momentum is given as r cross p. So in this case, the angular momentum L vector is I cross I becomes 0, j cross I is minus k. So it is mu cos theta into h max. So expression for h max is u square sin square theta by 2g, and this is minus k cap. So this is how the expression for angular momentum is given in this case. Now let's see the other expression for angular momentum. As we saw in torque, the next expression for angular momentum is L vector is equal to I omega vector, and this is valid only when axis of rotation is defined. Valid only when axis of rotation is defined. You know when are the axis of rotation defined? About axis passing through fixed axis, about an axis passing through center of mass, and about instantaneous axis of rotation. So this is valid only in those cases. Now let's derive the expression for combined. Now let's derive the expression for angular momentum for an object undergoing combined translational and rotational motion. This is the center of mass of this object, so let's write it as C. And this object is rotating about its center of mass with an angular velocity omega, and its center of mass is moving with respect to a fixed point on the inertial frame with a velocity v. Let's write it as vcm. Let's write it as vc only. Now let's take any point on this plane, which is say I particle. The position vector of this I particle with respect to center of mass is RIC, and position vector of this center of mass with respect to O is RCO. The position vector of I with respect to O is the position vector of I with respect to O is RIO. Now if we write by using triangle law of addition of vectors, what we get here is RCO plus RIC is equal to RIO. Similarly, VCO, that is velocity of center of mass with respect to O, plus VIC is equal to VIO. We simply differentiate the position vector expression to get this result in velocity. Now, angular momentum of a particle I with respect to O is RIO cross MI into VIO, where what is RIO? RIO is RCO plus RIC cross MI. VIO is VCO plus VIC. This is LIO. Now let's take the cross product of each individual term. So we have RCO cross MI VCO plus MI RIC cross VCO plus RCO cross MI VIC plus RIC cross mi VIC. Now this is angular momentum of one particle I about O, right? So now to find out the total angular momentum of the entire object, we sum up all the angular momentas of such particles. There are n number of particles. So now this is equal to summation of RCO cross Mi VCO. So I'll deal every expression one by one. In this, RCO and VCO are position vector and velocity of a fixed point with respect to O, right? And summation of Mi is what? From 0 to the total mass m of the particle. So this we get as position vector of center of mass with respect to O cross m, the total mass of the particle, into velocity of center of mass with respect to O. So in this case, what we are assuming is, we are assuming the total angular momentum of the object, considering it that it is undergoing translational motion concentrated at its center of mass with a velocity Vcm. Now, taking the second expression, putting the summation sign here, it's Mi RIC cross VCO. Now summation is with Mi RIC. I'll explain this to you. Position vector of two particles, position vector of center of mass of two particles is given as m1 r1 with respect to O plus m2 r2 with respect to O divided by m1 plus m2. Right. Now if I reduce this O, or if I replace this O by center of mass only, then the term will be 0. And these two, which were earlier written as Mi RIO, from I is equal to 1 to 2, divided by Mi from I is equal to 1 to 2, this will be written as sigma Mi RICM from I is equal to 1 to 2, and summation of total mass Mi from 1 to 2. Now this term is equal to 0. Why? Because when this is multiplied to 0, we get this term as 0. Right? So whether it is for 2 terms or for it is n terms, it will be 0. So this term is 0. Similarly, the summation of this, that is sigma, that is RCO cross sigma of MIVIC. Here RCO cross sigma of MIVIC, this term is again 0, because when we differentiate this MIRIC with respect to time, we get this. So this is 0. Now about this. Now this term VIRIC, this term VIC can be written as RIC cross omega vector. And this entire term can now be written as RIC cross mi RIC cross omega vector. So this is plus mi RIC square, the sigma of this into omega vector. So this is ICM So this is ICM omega vector. Now we can see here the angular momentum of a particle undergoing combined translational and rotational motion is given as L net is equal to, first considering the translational part of it, RCM O cross MVCMO, and this is ICM omega. तो ये एक्सप्रेशन है हमारा यहाँ पे L net इज इक्वल टू RCMO क्रॉस MVCMO प्लस ICM ओमेगा. इसका एक एग्जाम्पल देखते हैं. तो यहां पर हमने क्या देखा कि एंगुलर मोमेंटम किसी भी पार्टिकल का जो कंबाइंड ट्रांसलेशनल और रोटेशनल मोशन में होगा उसका हम एंगुलर मोमेंटम इस तरीके से लिख सकते हैं, RCMO क्रॉस MVCMO प्लस ICM ओमेगा. यहाँ पे O क्या है? O एक ऐसा पॉइंट है जो जिसके अबाउट हमें नेट एंगुलर मोमेंटम लिखना है. इसका एक एग्जांपल देखते हैं. सपोज करो ये एक स्फीयर है और ये स्फीयर अपना ये एक स्फीयर है जो ग्राउंड पे मूव कर रहा है और सेंटर ऑफ मास की वेलोसिटी इसकी v नॉट है और इसकी एंगुलर वेलोसिटी ओमेगा नॉट है. इसका हम एंगुलर मोमेंटम निकालना चाहते हैं पॉइंट ऑफ कांटेक्ट के अबाउट. इस पॉइंट के अबाउट P के अबाउट हम इसका एंगुलर मोमेंटम निकालना चाहते हैं. इसका मास है m और रेडियस है r. तो हम एक्सप्रेशन यूज करेंगे इसमें. वी विल यूज द एक्सप्रेशन L net is equal to RCM with respect to P cross MVCM. And of course this V naught, this velocity is with respect to the point P क्योंकि वो ग्राउंड पे है पॉइंट, प्लस ICM ओमेगा. ये आया यहां पर सेंटर ऑफ मास ये है, ये आया इसका RCMP जो RJ कैप है, दिस इज RJ कैप क्रॉस M. VCM is V naught I cap plus ICM, since we are considering it to be a sphere or solid sphere, so ICM will be 2 by 5 mr square. Omega is omega naught minus k cap. We are assuming this to be the xy axis. So this is mv naught r minus k cap plus 2 by 5 mr square omega naught माइनस के कैप। इस तरीके से हम यहां पर एंगुलर मोमेंटम इस ऑब्जेक्ट का लिख सकते हैं। So now let's see the expression for kinetic energy of an object undergoing combined translational and rotational motion। तो यही ऑब्जेक्ट हम समझ लेते हैं, which was moving with linear velocity. This object was moving with linear velocity vc and rotating about its own axis with angular velocity omega. The expression for kinetic energy for this object is given as K net is equal to half m VCM square plus half ICM omega square। इसका एग्जाम्पल देखते हैं। इसी एग्जाम्पल में हम इसको नेट काइनेटिक एनर्जी लिखने की कोशिश करते हैं। सो दिस इज हाफ m VCM स्क्वायर। तो यहां पर मास m दिया हुआ है और v नॉट स्क्वायर इज द वेलोसिटी प्लस हाफ ICM होगा इसका 2 by 5 mr स्क्वायर और एंगुलर वेलोसिटी दे रखी है इसकी ओमेगा नॉट, तो ये हो जाएगा ओमेगा नॉट स्क्वायर। तो यहां से ये एक्सप्रेशन मिलेगा मुझे हाफ m v नॉट स्क्वायर प्लस 1 by 5 mr square omega naught square। So this is how we can write the net kinetic energy of a particle undergoing combined translational and rotational motion। Now let's see the most important topic in rotational motion, which is rolling, and then we will see some problems in these. Under rolling motion, we will discuss two types of rolling. Under rolling motion, we will discuss three types of rolling. One is uniform pure rolling, the other one is accelerated pure rolling, the third one is rolling on an inclined plane. So let's discuss the first case, which is of uniform pure rolling. The condition for this is the general condition is velocity of point of contact P with respect to the surface on which pure rolling takes place should be equal to 0. So I will write this as velocity of point of contact with respect to the surface is equal to, or so VPS is velocity of point of contact with respect to the surface on which pure rolling is taking place. So let's take this object which is moving on this surface, or which is undergoing pure rolling on this surface, and this surface is on the ground. So this is ground. This is a plank. The velocity of this plank is, say, V2 with respect to ground, and this sphere is moving with velocity V1 in the forward direction with respect to ground, and omega is its angular velocity. The point of contact of this sphere with respect to the surface on which pure rolling takes place is, say, P, right? Then this is V1g in the forward direction, and this is omega r in the backward direction, where m is mass of the sphere and r is its radius. So velocity of point of contact P with respect to ground is V1g minus omega r I cap. And velocity of surface with respect to ground is, surface here is Planck. It is V2g I cap. So the condition for pure rolling here is VPS is equal to 0. So the relation between V1, V2 and omega is VPS, which is VPG minus VSG is equal to 0. So this is V1 minus omega r minus V2g I cap is equal to 0. Or the expression goes like this, or the relation between V1, V2 and omega is V1g is equal to omega r plus V2g. Okay. Now this is the condition for uniform pure rolling. Let's see one example in it. So let's see this example. Initially, this is a solid sphere with its center of mass moving at linear velocity of v naught and angular velocity of omega naught is equal to v naught by 2r. The coefficient of friction between the solid sphere and the ground is mu. This sphere was left at time t is equal to 0. We have to find the time t when the sphere starts pure rolling. So this is the pure rolling stage which the sphere has achieved. इनिशियली इस स्फीयर के पास वेलोसिटी v नॉट है, लीनियर वेलोसिटी, एंगुलर वेलोसिटी ओमेगा नॉट है जो कि v नॉट बाई 2r दे रखा है हमको और वो क्लॉकवाइज सेंस में है. t0 पे जब इस स्फीयर को छोड़ा गया, सरफेस का कोएफिशिएंट ऑफ फ्रिक्शन था म्यू. वी हैव टू फाइंड द टाइम आफ्टर विच द स्फीयर स्टार्ट्स प्योर रोलिंग. तो हम अज्यूम कर लेते हैं कि जब ये स्फीयर प्योर रोलिंग करना स्टार्ट करता है तो इसकी वेलोसिटी v हो जाएगी और इसकी एंगुलर वेलोसिटी ओमेगा हो जाएगी. तो ये इसका पॉइंट ऑफ कांटेक्ट हुआ. तो जब पॉइंट ऑफ कांटेक्ट ग्राउंड पे होता है तो VPG जो है यहां पर इसकी वैल्यू आएगी v माइनस ओमेगा आर आई कैप और सरफेस की वेलोसिटी यहां पर 0 है क्योंकि वो ग्राउंड है. प्योर रोलिंग की कंडीशन कहती है कि VPS शुड बी इक्वल टू 0. ये है VPS विच इज VPG माइनस VSG जो कि v माइनस ओमेगा आर है. इसको 0 के बराबर होना पड़ेगा. सो v इज इक्वल टू ओमेगा आर. ये हमें मालूम है. तो कई बार हम धोखे में हर बार हम ये कंडीशन लिख लेते हैं कि v इज इक्वल टू ओमेगा आर इज कंडीशन फॉर प्योर रोलिंग, बट दिस इज नॉट द कंडीशन फॉर प्योर रोलिंग. कंडीशन फॉर प्योर रोलिंग इज VPS शुड बी इक्वल टू 0 जो कि अभी हमने देखा था. नाउ v इज इक्वल टू ओमेगा आर, ये हमें मालूम है. If we conserve angular momentum about point of contact P, there are two methods by which we can do this. Method one is by conserving angular momentum. So let's draw the free body diagram of this object. It's mg downwards, normal reaction n upwards, and friction is acting in the forward direction. To find the direction of friction, let's see the direction of relative motion of point P with respect to the ground. So this is V naught in the forward direction and omega r in the backward direction, which is, on substituting the value of omega naught, we get it is V naught by 2. So this point P is moving in the forward direction with respect to the surface. Right. So friction will be acting in the backward direction. Friction is acting in the backward direction. If we see the torque about this point P, the torque about this point P of all these forces is equal to 0. So angular momentum of a particle is conserved only about the point about which torque is equal to 0. So let's write the initial angular momentum of this particle or object about P. So about P, angular momentum is conserved. Using the expression for net angular momentum, that is RCM, cross PCM, plus ICM omega, we have RCM as R j cap, where R is radius of this sphere and mass is m, cross m v naught by 2r minus k cap, plus ICM is 2 by 5 mr square, omega vector is so we are using the expression for angular momentum as RCM cross PCM plus ICM omega, and RCM here is R j cap, cross PCM is the linear momentum, so it is m into v naught I cap, plus ICM is 2 by 5 mr square, omega is v naught by 2r minus k cap. Now this is equal to mv naught r plus mv naught r by 5 minus k cap. Minus k cap, because j cross I is also minus k. So this is initial angular momentum Li, and this is equal to 6 by 5 mv naught r minus k cap. About final angular momentum, about final angular momentum, about the same point P, again using the expression for angular momentum, we have r j cap cross m v I cap, plus ICM is 2 by 5 this m is a small m, 2 by 5 mr square Omega is V by R here because it has started pure rolling, and this is minus K cap. So this is MVR plus 2 by 5 MVR minus K cap. This is 7 by 5 this is 7 by 5 MVR minus K cap. Equating these two, because we are conserving angular momentum, we have 6 by 5 M V naught R is equal to 7 by 5 MVR. Or velocity V is equal to 6 by 7 V naught. Now we know the value of velocity. We want to find what is the time. अब हमको यहाँ पर टाइम निकालना है. We found the velocity v, which was 6v naught by 7. Now we want to find out what is the time taken by this object to under. Now we want to find out what is the time taken by the particle to achieve pure rolling status. So we will write the translational motion equation for all these particles. Now to find the time taken by this object to achieve pure rolling status, we will write the rotational kinematical equations So that is the translational motion equations. So here we have friction is the only force which is acting in the horizontal direction, and this will be the kinetic friction, which is mu into normal reaction n, which is mg in this case.